I met a Cocteau twin, an upcoming blues guitarist, a teen crush, and a British rock band. Hi everybody, and welcome to another Martin's Meets. I've literally just done about 5 minutes of this and then realised I hadn't pressed record. Okay, so I'm doing it a bit different. Normally I do a meet, record a video the next day or a day or two afterwards and upload it. These are going back a few weeks. I've, for various reasons, partly time-wise and partly just to make this a substantial video, I've decided to amalgamate them all into one. This sort of clear the decks. So this is 4 events organised by A Slice of Vinyl, my local record shop. 3 of them in stores, 1 of them out store. First one was an out store, and that was with Simon Raymonde, who was in the Cocteau Twins. It was as I say, an out store which was held at St John's Church in Thornton in Gosport, where the Glenn Matlock one I went to was, the Mickey Berenes, the Ed Tudor Pole. It's a lovely venue. Not great for photos, which will be discussed in a minute. So normally with the out stores, Kieran and Emma from A Slice of Vinyl arrange for a support act. It's usually a local act, either a band or a solo artist, just performing a few songs, just to sort of warm us up for the evening. This time Simon arranged it himself because he is co-founder, I believe, but now the main man at Bella Union Records. So he brought along one of his acts, who was a young lady called Sophie Jameson, who was absolutely fantastic. I've already spoken about her on my channel, showed her first album and an EP that I bought from her. Yeah, absolutely fantastic. She is coming to Gosport to A Slice of Vinyl for an in-store in January, which I'm really looking forward to sign her new album. But yeah, she was amazing. Her voice was just something to be awed at. Anyway, it was a short interval after Sophie, and then Simon came on and did a talk about his book, with Kieran interviewing him. Interesting, started off with him talking about his early life and particularly how he got into music. It's quite interesting because his dad was Ivor Raymonde, who was a famous arranger and writer of music. He co-wrote, I think it was I Only Want to Be With You, the Dusty Springfield song. He did the arrangement for Alan Price's version of Simon Smith and His Amazing Dancing Bear. Did arrangements for the Walker Brothers. You know, proper decent arranger and composer. But it wasn't until punk that Simon really found music, and was, you know, talk about that period of his life, then how he got into the Cocteau Twins via other bands, a little bit about their story, and then for me what was the most interesting part of the evening, and seemed to be the part of the evening that Simon was most interested in talking about, was the foundation of Bella Union, the acts he discovered, signed, the future of the label, the future of music. Yeah, really interesting stuff. Afterwards he signed copies of his book, which we'd pre-bought as entry. No photos this time. As I say, the lighting in St John's Church isn't great for photos, so Kieran decided he wasn't going to waste time trying to take photos, which was absolutely fine. If I was desperate, I would have just asked for a selfie, but I wasn't overly bothered. But yeah, this is his book, Simon Raymonde, In One Ear, Cocteau Twins, Ivor and Me. And he signed it to Martin with love, Simon R. So yeah, very good event. Next was an in-store at the record shop, as all the next ones are. And this was with Toby Lee, who is a 19-year-old blues guitarist who's been playing since he was 11, I think, and has appeared. So I was sort of Googling him a couple of days before the event, just to, you know, sort of familiarise myself a bit more with him. And the first video that came up was a performance at the London Palladium, introduced by Bradley Walsh, with Toby guesting with McFly. 2 days before seeing Toby, I saw Bradley Walsh live. Then I saw Toby, and 3 or 4 days after, I saw McFly. So that was really spooky. But yeah, other than that, he's signed to Gibson's ambassador programmy type thing. He's appeared on stage with Slash, Joe Bonamassa, who's called him the next great blues guitarist, or words to that effect. Billy Gibbons from ZZ Top, Joe Walsh, all sorts of big names he's appeared with. He's currently touring with Jules Holland on his tour. And yeah, he's released this album, House on Fire, which is really good. So it's quite sort of a poppier end of blues. I don't mean that, it's more Gary Moore still got the blues era, Eric Clapton, early 80s, that sort of blues, rather than your Robert Johnsons or your B.B. Kings or anything like that. It's definitely got, catchy pop hooks, but he is a fantastic guitarist. So he came in and he did... It was only the second time he's ever played acoustically. The first time was on a Radio 2, I think it was, performance a few days beforehand. So it was a real novelty for him playing acoustically, but it didn't show. He was fantastic. He played about 5 tracks, I think, from the album. Excellent. Really good voice as well. Really lovely chap. And then, yeah, afterwards, met him and signed him, had a quick chat with him. Again, just really nice guy. Couldn't recommend him more, to be honest. So, yeah, this is his album, and he signed it to Martin Rock On, Toby Lee. But, yeah, absolutely fantastic. These are some photos of him when I met him and me with him. Next was Wendy James from Transvision Vamp. So I'm a big fan of Wendy's. I have all her solo albums that are currently available. So I've got a CD box set with all Transvision Vamp's albums in. Then I don't have her first solo album, Elvis Costello written and produced one. I don't have her... Which way round is it? First, what she classes her first real solo album, Racine 1, but then Racine 2 onwards have all either been reissued or I've bought as new, and I have all of those. When this album was announced, I held off a while because she announces things way in advance, even before she started writing. She sort of announces the next album and puts them up for pre-order. But a few months ago, I pre-ordered the vinyl and CD, because I collect her on both, from her online shop. And then the in-store was announced. Now, fortunately, the versions from her shop are different from the versions available elsewhere. So it's a 13-track album, which from her shop comes on a 9-disc 12-inch LP and a 4-disc 10-inch LP. The version in shops just has the 9-track version on the 12-inch LP. Similarly, the CD is a deluxe package through her website, and it's just a basic package in shops. But yeah, she's doing this tour, so as soon as I could, I ordered my album so that I could attend. It was on Halloween, October 31st. I was really looking forward to it and did not disappoint. So we got in and Wendy was sat ready for us, basically. Had a little chat with us and then got into the set. She performed, whereas most acts do 4 or 5 tracks, usually maybe a couple more. She performed 4 or 5 from a new album, and then another 5 or 6 classics, including a couple of Transvision vamp tracks at the end. So certainly a decent set. Sounded great. It was just her and her guitarist who also played keys on one of the tracks. She's suffering from bronchitis, or she was then, but it didn't affect her vocals at all. She was coughing occasionally in between songs, and when I was chatting to her afterwards, she had a coughing fit. But she wasn't going to let that beat her, and she had her whiskey, which she knocked over halfway through the set, to ease her voice. But yeah, sounded really good live. Really glad to have seen her perform live. And then afterwards, she'd bought her own merch table, so that you could buy additional stuff. Music-wise, I already had everything, so there was nothing that I wanted to buy anyway. I congratulated her on the album because I'd already listened to the album on CD, the one that had come from her shop in advance, and it is a really good album. I absolutely love it. Told her what I'd done, and she was very grateful that I'd ordered it from her. Yeah, really nice. So she signed my album, Martin, much love, Wendy James. And then also Emma gave me one of their flyers to get signed. So again, Martin, much love, Wendy James. And here's some photos of her signing and chatting to me, and me with her. One aside to that install was there was an unfortunate event during it. So there was 2 men and 2 women who had come. Apparently, I've subsequently learnt they sort of rang up a day or two before asking about attending, but not wanting to buy the record. They weren't interested in the record, they just wanted to attend, but it was explained that they have to buy the record to get entrance, which they did. But then they spent most of... They'd obviously had a few drinks beforehand, but then they spent most of Wendy's set chatting, which was very distracting for those of us who were around them. They were politely asked to stop. They stopped for about 30 seconds and then started again. They then kept asking if they could use the shop's toilet, which isn't a customer toilet, it is the staff toilet. And to get to that toilet, apart from that, they then have to go backstage, if you like, behind the scenes with all the spare stock and all valuable stuff. Also, that was the Wendy's green room where all her stuff was set up, and there's stuff to negotiate, and it just wasn't feasible or practical for them to use that, and nobody should expect that. I mean, it was only a 45-minute set, it wasn't like we were stood there for hours. So what they've kicked off about that, abused Emma outside. One of them actually left mid-set so that he could use the public toilets in the car park behind the shop, and then came back. It was all very disruptive. They have been banned from future events, and the shop is being a lot stricter and sort of publishing etiquette guides for the in-stores, and rightly so. It didn't spoil the evening though, but I know it wasn't fun for Emma and Kieran. And the fourth, and for this video final one, took place on Monday the 11th of November at 2 p.m, and it was from Massive Wagons. So Massive Wagons are an English rock band. I wasn't familiar with them when they were announced. Went on YouTube, checked out their latest couple of songs, really liked them, so I thought, yeah, I will go to that. So ordered my copy of the vinyl. Got there, and it was very much smelly leather jackets, tall t-shirts type vibe, and here's me in a shirt and smart trousers. But never mind. We got in. They had also bought a merch table. They actually had special t-shirts for their in-store tour with the various shops written on my back, so including Gospel, a slice of vinyl, which was cool. And Kieran was very chuffed about. But yeah, got in there, let in shortly after 2 o'clock. Within a couple of minutes, the 3 of the 5 band members who were there came out and just started mingling with everyone and chatting away. They clearly knew a lot of them. You know, they were obviously fans who attend a lot of gigs and what have you. You know, but we're just very down to earth and relaxed. And then after about a quarter of an hour, they sort of looked at each other and said, "Are we going to do this?" And went up to the mics, did a 4 or 5 song set of tracks from this new album, Earth to Grace, all of which were really good. Great performance. The lead singer is just that right side of crazy. You know, so he puts on a show, and you know, there was one lady was recording the last song, I think it was, on her phone, and she sort of had it held sort of, you know, hip height, or waist height, and he sort of got down and sort of crawled towards the camera and started making faces and what have you at the camera while he was singing. Yeah, really entertaining. Then they set up the tables and we all queued up, and they were signing anything that was put in front of them, basically. So lots of people had bought all sorts of stuff for them to sign, which they were really happy to do. And some items, they got pictures with, you know, the person who had the item, because they wanted to display them. You know, one guy had a wagon, train wagon type thing that they signed, and he posed with that. And another guy had a one of those pan-lattened lorries that you can buy, that he got them to sign, and you know, they posed with that. But yeah, really nice, down-to-earth guys, very appreciative for the support. So signed this for me, asked him to make it to Martin, and then signed in gold there and there. And yeah, again, photos of me with them, or as you know, as they were signing, and photos of me posing with them. So yeah, that's a little catch up of the in-stores that I've been to over the last 8 weeks or so. All brilliantly organised by a Slice of Vinyl. Looking forward to attending many more, which I will. But yeah, quite a biggie for those of you who like my autograph videos and my Martin Meets videos in particular. I'm coming out of Comic-Con retirement this coming weekend to meet Chuti Gatwa and Millie Gibson and a few other people. So hopefully Sunday there will be another Martin Meets video talking about Winter London Comic Con. But thank you for watching. Like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks. Bye.